Okay, so the two parshas of tefillin we learned already. One is called Kaddish, one is called Vayikra Kiviyacha, and we noticed there was a change in the tefillin shel Rosh. That from the first one was called Zikaron, and the second one it's called Totafos. Okay, now if you look at the beginning of the parsha of Kaddish Li, the headline starts Zachor. Okay? So which means the point of this parsha is to remember something. And that's why the tefillin on your Rosh, in terms of this parsha, the point is remember. In other words, talking about something in the past. And as we learned, the whole point of that parsha is to remind you that Pesach happens once a year. And if you participate in the process of Pesach, which don't eat chametz and eat matzah, and talk about Yeshivas and Shrine, you're accessing the power of Hashem taking you out every year. So the point of the tefillin is to remind you, to keep in memory, right? Listen, once a year there's this thing, you work with it, it's powerful. Okay? Then the second thing is called totafos. Now, what is the translation of the word totafot?
Ornament, signs.
Okay, so you said something very good. We don't know what it means. It sounds like what it's saying is some kind of ornament that you look like you have something on you that defines who you are. Okay? So that means that's very sensible. This parsha is teaching you about the fact that you're the Bechor of Hashem. That Hashem took Paro's Bechor away when he tried to take you away to teach Paro and you who Am Yisrael is. Right? The Bechor, what's the mile of a Bechor? The oldest. The oldest of the person who defines the entire family. Okay? What I want to explain it a little deeper. The Torah is called Bir Reishis. It starts with the word Reishis. Right? Truma, every time we have food in Eretz Yisrael, we first take Truma, we first take Challah, and then we eat it. Okay? So the concept of Reishis means that when you look at the world, we see a body. Okay? We see food. What Hashem is teaching you is that everything that exists in the world has a neshama to it, which means it has a spiritual point that is the source of life for this thing that you have in the world. So the source of life of the world is the Reishis of the world, which is the Torah and Klal Yisrael. Everything else comes as a way of expressing that. The same way your soul is expressed in your body. The world, with Am Yisrael, the Shechina, is expressed through the whole world. Truma, when you give Truma, right, you're saying the food that I'm eating now looks like it's a physical food. But what its essence is, that the same way Truma is there to make the Beis HaMikdash happen, right? So the essence of the world is the avoda of the Beis HaMikdash, and all of us are the one that allows that avoda to be expressed fully in the world. All of our food is there to express the spiritual energy of Truma inside of it, that because there's Truma, that's why we are who we are. Okay? So the concept of Bechor means that the beginning of a mishpacha is holy. Everything every person, every mishpacha, every shevet, every family has a certain gift to the world that they are as a family unit. That's why we all have the same name, right? Yeah. Okay, so the defining factor of that family is its core, its beginning, because everything comes out from the beginning. The firstborn, by definition, influences the entire house, right? You're influencing your brothers. That's what your father's so worried about, right? But that influence, what is that influence? So Hashem is telling us, Kadesh li kol bachar. Make every bachar holy. You should know that the beginning of your mishpacha is one that is, his gift to the world is that he is a servant of God. And he's supposed to be in the Beis HaMikdash. Okay? That's the limud that the second parsha is coming to teach us. It's coming to teach us, Am Yisrael, you know who you are? The source of every family is the fact that you are the people, the Kohanim of Hashem. You're the people who are supposed to be serving in the Beis HaMikdash. You're essentially, you're the beginning of holiness of the world, and everything else in the Mishpacha is an expression of that holiness. Okay? So now we understand why the tefillin now are an adornment. Because we're trying to say, first we remember that Hashem is going to take us out if we do Pesach, and then we remember who we are, right? Because what happens is, the fact that we were taken out of Mitzrayim should teach you something about yourself. It's a message. It's a message. You know why he's taking you out of Mitzrayim? Every once a year you can get taken out of Mitzrayim. Okay? And what you do is you do this, participate, it'll work. Now why? What's the meaning behind that? The meaning behind that is the fact that you are inherently holy. You are inherently connected. You are inherently his. And therefore he's going to take you out of Mitzrayim. It doesn't make a difference even if you're not doing mitzvahs.
Inherently meaning
your essence.
You do.
Your essence.
They kept three. You know what? They kept 3 mitzvahs. That's why.
All the 3 mitzvahs accomplished was that they identified as something different than the Mitzrayim. But they were still over culturally and spiritually the same thing. They're over the Avodah Zarah exactly the same.
Yeah, but then the only thing that allowed them to go was because of the extra mitzvahs. They got that, matzah bris and the cow.
Right, that's the first message teaches you. But the reason why that works, the reason why those mitzvahs work is not because...
Halacha still applies.
I didn't say it didn't. I'm saying that's the first message of the first parsha of Tefillin. But the halacha works because it's the reason why those tiny mitzvahs are a reason why Hashem wiped out Mitzrayim and took you out was because you are inherently his. And as long as you participate in the process of leaving, you're going to leave. If you block leaving, if you're like, Hashem, I'm going to take you out of Mitzrayim and say, no, I'm not going, then you're not going to leave, right? But the reason why you left is not because you participated. It's like you go, you rescue, let's say people are kidnapped, right? And you run and you take them out of being kidnapped, right? So the reason why they're rescued from being kidnapped is not because they're participating. It's because you want to rescue them. Now, if they, while you're walking out and sneaking out of the bad people's place, you start talking and screaming and tell the bad people to come, then you're not going to get rescued because you're not participating, right? So Hashem is telling you, stay away from chametz because you need to separate completely from Mitzrayim. If you don't participate, then I can't help you. But the reason why you're leaving is not because of that. You're leaving because you are kodesh. Okay? So now, look at the word totafot. Okay? Totafot, Rabbi Yeshivas says, we learned it yesterday, totafot is tat pat. Tat pat. What is tat pat? Rabbi Yeshivas says that in a place called Katfi, they used the one to describe two. The way they say two was tat. And the way they describe two in Afriki is pat. Okay, so what does that teach you? That this adornment you have on your head, this totafot, which is to show you to express your outwardly your value, this is supposed to look like 2 and 2. There's supposed to be 2, 4, basically 4, but not 4. 2 and 2 is not 4. Each one's a separate thing. This one's a tat, and this one's a pat. And he's trying to teach you that there be separate messages, okay? So we just learned the first 2 messages. Now the word tat, if you notice, is the same letter twice. Right?
Yeah.
Okay? And the word pat is not the same letter twice. What is that teaching you? That these 2 parshios are telling you the same thing. Even though they're different, right? Why? Because one is learned from the other. In other words, there's what happens and there's what I understand from it. There's chokhmah and there's bina, right? What is and what does it mean? Okay? That these 2 parashios, it says in the Mekubalim, is keneged chokhmah and bina, which means they're the same parsha. When you have information and you understand its meaning, you didn't have new information. You have the same information with deeper understanding. So tet comes to teach you that you need to have 2 parashios with the same essence, right? But you need both. If you don't have both, you don't have a repetitive, you don't have the saying and says, oh, what does this mean, right? Then you won't get the message.
Wait, but it's tet, but totafot is spelled with tough.
No, it's tet, pay tough.
Tough is this, right?
Tough is the last one. Tet is number 9.
Yeah,
so it's number 9, pat.
Why is number 9 if it's not number 9, how you spell
the way totafot is tet,
right.
Pay tough.
No, yeah, tough.
Look inside.
Oh.
Right?
I'm really got sorry,
Right.
bad fever.
So tet, right? So it's repetitive. What's that teach you? That what you're trying to do is take that parsha, the first parsha, and get its meaning,
Right.
right? So it's like, that's why Hashem used that letter, because I imagine in Katvi, the way to say 3 is probably ta.
Right.
And probably the way to say 1 is ta. Ta, right? Probably that's how it worked. So he's telling you, what?
It doesn't make sense.
Why?
10. You know.
I don't know, but I'm saying why. It's very interesting that the word 2 has 2 letters in it. Ta, the same repetitive letter.
Right.
That's not stam. Right? So I'm assuming that they were trying to say the word 2, right? But the difference between saying echad and shnayim is that echad and shnayim doesn't mean it's the same thing twice. It means there's 1 and 2. They could be very different from each other. They have some category which includes them both, right? They're all parshios, but they don't have to be repetitive. The message of ta is that this parsha is repetitive. How is it repetitive, even though it seems something different? Because one teaches the other. That the fact that he took you out of Mitzrayim, and he takes you out of Mitzrayim every year, what you're trying to wear on your head is that that memory should teach you who you are. You deserve an adornment. You deserve to walk around like a king's son, like the one who is defining the entire world with your essence, because that's who you are. And that's why I took you out of Mitzrayim, because you're mine. Right? That's the message of tat. The message of tet. And I would say something else also. Obviously the letters of tet, if you look in, you know that the world was created with otiyot, right? That means that the raw materials of creation, the same way atoms are raw materials of creation, otiyot are raw materials of creation. Okay? So it's just moving around the otiyot, and that's how the world was created. So if we want to understand the entity that was created in tefillin of these two houses where we hold these parshios, we'd have to understand what the omek of the word tov, the word of tes is. Because it's repetitive tes, right? So what do you think the word, the ot tet, what is its energy? What is its message? And there's a lot, but what do you think of when you think of the word tet? The letter tet.
It's a circle. It's close. It's 1 opening. 2.
That's cool. What does that teach you?
What do you mean?
Yeah, you said it's a closed circle with one.
I don't know.
That's a certain midah, right? So a tet looks like a womb. Right? Okay, what else does the word tet give you?
Nothing. Just, letter, that's right.
What?
I don't think people, I think
It's made out of a coffin of Vav.
Made out of coffin of Vav, okay. What does that teach you?
I don't know what's Kaf, what's Vav. Calf. I don't know. Calf. You should sacrifice.
We should look into it. I'll look into it what the Sfarim say about these type of things. But I was thinking of that tet, yud is the oath that represents olam haba. Olam haba is all emes. There's no sheker in olam haba, right? And the Gemara says that kibiyat surah alamim, that the oath that was created olam haba with is yud. Okay, now tet is before yud, right?
Right.
And tet is the building block for the word tov. Tov, what's the difference between tov and emet?
The truth doesn't have to be good.
The truth is always good.
Wow.
Good doesn't have to be the truth, because you could think something is good, and you're wrong.
No, but then it's not good.
Well, you think it's good yachasi because it has a value for what you're thinking about, but it's not necessarily completely true.
Right.
Tov is basically dependent, subjective, and emet is objective. Olam haba is emet, right? Tov is a rechem. It's how you interpret things. It's the power of interpretation. So, if I'm right, that's what totafot are. The tet is coming to tell you the second message of tefillin, the totafot part of it, is the interpretation power of the message that the first parasha said. In other words, now the repetitive is this first parasha and the second parasha become one, the same, because now I understand what this means. Okay? Now, what I'd like to learn now for the rest of the day is the last two parshios. The last two parshios, we're already going to have a remez that they are different than the first two, right? He told us to make two separate categories.
Yeah.
And we also know that it's two separate sides. The Gemara in Menachos is clear, we'll learn it later, is that one's for the right side and one's for the left side. Okay, there's two on the right and two on the left. And we also know there's two different types of brains.
Yeah.
Right side and left brain. Right and left brain.
Yeah, and Kung Fu I have to use both of them because it's really hard when you use one. Then you use both sides of them.
Okay, so you're going to describe to us soon what is the difference between right brain and left brain. Why is that important? Because we're going to understand the value of these two parshios are right brain parshios. 1 second. And then last two parshios are left brain parshios. So two things before we start these learning the second parshios, we're going to have a remez that the word pat is going to describe them. And secondly, they have to do with left brain. So now describe to us what's left brain about.
Okay, so first of all, you don't know form. You know what a form is? A kata.
Oh yeah. Use rote?
Well, I do Kung Fu.
What's a
Now,
kata?
it's really, really, really hard. It's a form. It looks like a dance, but you take out stuff from each paragraph and you use it as a self-defense.
It's not. It's.
It's not like karate. Karate is stupid because it just looks
Okay, so let's hear what you have to say. So what does that have to do with left brain and right brain?
So when I do a whole form, okay, suddenly out of nowhere he's like, okay, now do it on the left side, and I'm like trying to do it, but I'm like, what the heck? Why is it so difficult? Because I'm using now my left brain.
So if you do it with your right side of your body, is it in the left side of your body?
Basically.
No, you train yourself.
So show me, what's the right side of your body look like?
You want to do it?
Yeah. Over there, I'll see.
This camera.
Why, what do you think I'm going to do? Eat you?
No, impersonal.
What the worst you can do is not be perfect. Who cares? No one's perfect.
So how much should I do of it?
Show me the right side
Oh, okay.
for 1 minute, and then show me the left side.
So after shoes and kill me, I have to get down like this.
Mm-hmm.
I have to stand like this for 5 minutes straight.
Mm-hmm.
And I go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's only the first 5 minutes. There's like another like.
So show me the difference between the right side and the left
So
side.
now I know how to do the left side. I do it now for years. So I'm going like this. I'm blocking so it's going blocking so it's going. I take that out of the technique, but I'm like this. So now I do the whole form like that. Like then I go like this and like this, everything, right? And then he tells me to do it on the left side, and I'm like trying to do it, but I'm so memorized on my right side.
Oh, you mean start at the right or start at the left? That's the difference?
But both.
Also, but like it's way more different to say it. Like if you do it, you would see. Like it's really hard to.
So show me.
I should do the whole form now.
Show me the beginning of right and show me the beginning of left.
Yeah, you just do. It's very similar.
Usually I have
That was incredibly awesome. Now do the left.
Wait, it's not finished. So it looks like it's time to say stupid dance. That's why I told him. But then the first 4 moves like this. Is if someone comes and punches you, you're going like this. You're blocking sound. You're hard and striking and stuff.
Awesome. So now do the left.
So on the left side, I'm not so good at it because my brain, like I've done that like 500 times. So my brain is so used to doing it on the right side that like when I do the left side, it's like a whole different brain side.
Wow. So it depends on which side you start with.
No, it's the same brain though.
No,
I don't know, but
wait.
he's saying.
Right brain is feelings and emotions. Left brain is logical things.
If you start walking
Is that true?
backwards your whole life,
Yeah. Well, one is all the other way around.
I think it's the other way around.
Whatever.
Well, we'll look into it. We'll have to look into what right brain, left brain is, but it's very fascinating what you said, that which hand leads the process makes a completely different.
So the thing about it is that I've done it my whole life, so I feel like it already for like a year and a half. I do it for 2 years, but a year and a half, I've done it on my right side, so he never told me I'm ever going to do it on my left side, so I'm so used to it that like I have no idea he used the left side. But if each day he said, okay, now do the left side, now do the right side, I would use both of my minds, so now I know how to use both of them. And now he's teaching me to use my left.
Well, what would happen is that you would not develop either of them strongly.
Right.
So he wants to do first one and then second one. Now, it's why I say it's interesting, because it says, "Ukshartem lios al yodcha," which means in this parsha that it should be on your left side. So that means which hand is leading the message of tefillin?
The right hand.
No.
Maybe?
Yodcha means yad keha, your weak hand.
Yeah, the weak hand though. So there's lots of lefties that put on their right arm.
All right. So but the point is the weak hand.
Yeah.
Okay. So if the weak hand is the point,
Well, it's actually the right hand.
right? Well, it's actually a very important question. We'll learn it because it may have to do with what the heart is also.
Point
So what
towards.
about his lefties?
Okay, so we'll get to lefties in a second, but let's talk about what the Torah says. It says a weak hand,
Right.
right? So it's very interesting at the start of your message that you're trying to give to yourself with tefillin starts with the weak side.
I mean, but no, because come on. Also, let's take some logic into it. It's easier to put it on the weak hand because your stronger hand, you tie it on and everything. If I put it on my left arm, it's much harder. It's like.
And how weak do you have to be for it? For
No, come on, it's easier. Look, try it. It's much easier to put it on your.
That's what you used to put it on that way.
Not even because you used to do it. It's much easier to put it on the hand. that's-
Okay,
My
now
right hand
explain the
is
spiritual
stronger than my
formula.
right hand.
Explain the spiritual formula what you just said. You have a strong arm,
Yeah,
you have a weak arm.
yeah.
This weak arm obviously needs help because it's weak.
Doesn't need help. Okay.
Spiritual math.
Oh, spiritual, right.
Okay, it needs its weakness. Okay, it's the hand that represents gvura, which means that it's a test. Who's a gibor? Who's kovesh et yitzro? There's a yetzer over there.
Right.
It's close to the heart, which is full of dam, right, and full of things that pull you to the directions that are not so positive. And it also means withholding. Hashem says, "I want you to perform."
Right.
Okay, so there's all this weakness over here. Like you got to create it, and you have a yetzer hara, and it's this thing. Now, you have a strong hand,
Right.
and you're putting the power to be successful on your hand.
Right.
What does it teach you? The fact that you're using your powerful hand to give a message to your weak hand.
Rent.
The weak hand, maybe.
That's cool. Mentorship, right? What does that mean, mentorship?
Helping
That what?
them grow or whatever.
Okay. Amazing. What else?
Maybe that to build the weak hand stronger.
Okay.
No, but we cannot do it.
What it means to me is that even though you have a weak hand
Yeah.
and you need to build it,
Yeah.
you also have built in a strong hand. That's the source of how you give the message to the weak hand. Don't think you're only weak. Even though you look at your stuff and you say, "Wow, I got so much stuff. Wow, this is impossible." No, you actually have embedded power inside of you, which is the message of the whole this parsha,
Yeah.
which is your totafot, which is your glory. You have a strong hand,
Right.
and that's how you're going to give the message to the weak hand. Access your strength when giving this message.
To make the weak hand stronger.
Yeah. Don't try to deal with the weak.
I put my
Find your power.
I put my phone on my strong hand.
What?
My right hand is strong hand, but my phone on my right hand.
Huh?
Why?
Because I write with my left hand.
So why does it make it stronger?
Normally the one you write with is stronger, but my right hand is stronger than my left hand.
Maybe you should change it.
No, it's no, because it says you should write them, and then after it says you put them on. So we don't know that you write them, so you do it with the writing arm.
Okay.
Opposite.
Interesting. Okay. The hand you write with, that's the one you use to sharta.
Yeah, so put on the opposite hand.
That's also very interesting. You see that? That you write the tefillin. Here's this weak hand. Okay. So you take your strong hand.
Yeah.
You write up these parshios,
Okay.
right?
Right.
And then you put them on.
Right.
So you're accessing the entire time your strong points
Right.
by creating these messages and then applying that to your weak points, right? So we don't start with the weak. We start with the strong messages and it influence and move and help the weak part of ourselves.
Yeah.
That's a cool message too.
So it's also like physically it's very annoying to have a weak hand, like at the gym also.
Mm-hmm. It's really
my
annoying.
left arm is literally smaller than my right arm in a way. I can't really see.
You should work it out more.
So basically, it's annoying to have weaknesses.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, that little schmutz I done there sucked because I'm wearing these shoes and these pants. Usually it's really intense. Usually when I do it, like, the environment changes.
That's cool.
How scary it is.
So you're doing it for longer as well, and everyone else is doing it. So it's not weird.
Okay, so what I'd like to do now is continue to the next parsha because we got to move. Okay, we got 10 minutes left. I want to learn the parsha of Shema Yisrael. Right?
Wait, how's it kosher going to use your second head and
What?
how is it kosher to use your left brain and your right brain?
Because we learned totafot, the thing you put on your brain, is divided up into two things. Tat, pat, two. In other words, there's four houses of parshas on your head, right? There's 4 parshas in the tefillin, right? And in tefillin shalosh, if you notice, can I have that tefillin?
You can have ice cream if you want. I didn't put them on yet.
The tefillin, the shel yad, looks very different than the shel rosh. Okay? The shel rosh has 4 distinct houses on it.
Right.
On purpose. How do we know that? Because the Torah says tat pat. 2. The word tat means 2, the word pat means 2. The word pat means in Afriki, it means 2. So the Torah says do 2 like katfi, and do 2 like Afriki, and that's your tefillin. The shel yad is 1 bias. There's none of these separations over here. Okay? Now if you look at this,
The heart will be whole.
ooh, that's chazak. Very interesting. All right? Because your head is by definition divided. Because it has 2 sides to it. So now, is there 4 here or 2 and 2?
Huh?
Is there 4 here or 2 and 2?
It's 2 and 2.
I would say there's 4.
But you said.
But I said the Torah is telling you no, don't look at it as 4. It's 2 and 2.
Right.
They work 2 different things. This works on the right side,
No, it's the left side.
left side, right? Okay, so that means there's 2 different messages. So the message to the left side.
So Rabbeinu Tam, they have the same sequence. It's just swapped around there, or it's completely swapped around.
No, the Rabbeinu Tam works exactly like I'm saying. These 2 first parshios, the ones that go from the right, everybody agrees. You start with the first one that says in the Torah, and you move along the line, right, from right to left.
So either way, it's split in half.
Right, and then the machlokas in Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam goes like this. When you get to this point, right, do you start here and go this way, or do you start here and go this way? In other words, Shema has to be before Hayim Shemaya. But which way do you start? Do you start from the middle and continue? Or do you start from the side and go the other way? Why? Because everybody agrees that they have to be connected to the left part of you. Right? The question is, how do you start? Would you continue to the left in the middle? Or do you start from the side and go to the middle? That's the machlokas. So Rabbeinu Tam starts from the side and goes to the middle, and Rashi starts in the middle and goes to the side. But everybody agrees there's 2 and 2.
Yeah.
In other words, the first 2 parshas are where? They're in Seder Shemos. The second 2 parshas are in Seder Dvarim. They work totally differently. And the pat is the otiyot, the letters that teach you the difference.
What does pot mean?
So we're going to learn. Let's learn the parshas, and then we'll understand what the message is, why they're separate from the other ones, and why it's called pat. Deal? Okay, so what's the beginning of this parsha? Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael. What's this parsha say? Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Ma zo omer? What does that mean? Explain it. You say it every day. What does it mean?
That God is one, there's no other than God, and that we're his children, and you can learn a lot from it. It's not just one.
It's not just anyone say, it's rote here. And it's not saying listen.
What are we hearing?
Here.
What are we hearing? How do you hear that?
We're trying to listen, like you said earlier.
How do you listen? What are you listening to? That Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad.
He's our one and only.
But what are you listening to?
You're listening to.
If I tell you, Gabriel, listen,
Yeah.
then I say nothing.
I'm listening to you.
What are you listening to?
You are the words.
Yeah, silence. Hashem doesn't talk. He doesn't show himself.
He's impressing himself. He doesn't get.
What are you listening to? So then don't say listen.
Huh?
No,
If
he's
you're
saying
going to listen to, then don't say listen.
Listen to the silence. That he's not showing. He's not.
There's nothing to listen to.
Yeah, no. Listen to the silence. Listen
What do you guys
listen-
think about when you say the word Shema Yisrael? What are you listening to?
Okay, wait. So when I'm in a classroom and the teacher's like, listen to me, and he doesn't say anything, but he starts writing on the board, then you have to listen to what he's trying to tell you. And just like Hashems trying to tell us something, so we have to listen to him.
So he's telling you the words that I'm writing, I want you to listen to them. That's pretty cool.
It's from half of your arm.
It is.
No, but the bottom of it's supposed to be like this, from the half of your arm.
This is going to be right here, you see?
A bit lower. Very tight.
I know for next time.
Anyway,
Thank you.
what you just said, Alicia, is awesome. You said like this. There's words, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. You can just say those words, but he's telling you first, listen to what these words mean. Don't just read them.
Don't just read them, don't just like, oh yeah, and listen to what I'm saying. Like, you have to understand.
Like you said earlier, don't.
It's like we say. So the Chassidim, when they want to bench, right? So we say Rabbi Sai, Rabbi Sai Nevarech. Say so, Herzu Rabbi Sai, listen, Mivim benchen, right? Pay attention, right? Savrim Ranan. What does Savrim Ranan mean? Savri means listen, right? Get ready. Okay? So we tell people, that's a beautiful pshat. Listen, what are the words I'm going to say, understand what they mean.
Right.
I have another pshat. The other pshat goes like this, that the words Shema Yisrael in the Torah, they're in Parshas Devarim. Why? Because Devarim, Moshe Rabbeinu is repeating over the Torah, and right before Parshas Shema, what he said was Aseres HaDibros. Okay? Aseres HaDibros is Hashem revealing himself. But what he did was, on Aseres HaDibros, was he showed how every part of the world is completely and totally goes according to what he wants. There's never a part of the world that ever does anything than what he wants. Even though it looks like it doesn't. Right? But he showed in Har Sinai how all of the things, even the most destructive things in the world, are all under his control. And he's making them happen.
So then what my dad's saying was that like he created a world and it didn't work out for him. Right? Before he created this world, there was like another world and he had to destroy it or something.
Mm-hmm.
So like why did he make it in the first place if he already knew that he's gonna have to destroy it?
Because it's process. In other words, the fact that the world...
It didn't process on us, it didn't process on anything.
It does.
But
It does,
you
because...
can also say that it was, inside the earth and it was built around and round and round.
The fact that you know about it means it's relevant to you.
Oh.
So the fact that the world was created and destroyed means that it was a development, it's an evolution of the world, that the way it was then didn't have kiyum, the way it was didn't have kiyum, so therefore we're going to here. That means the thing he created, he was evolving it to a way that can have kiyum. It wasn't that he screwed up. He was showing you process. Because the whole world's about process. Right? So he's saying that the creation of the world is successful only after it goes through the process of being created like that, being broken, created like that, being broken, and then you can go to this, what we're holding over here. Okay, so you have to hear from that how much brokenness is an inherently part of the world we're creating. The fact that destruction happens the same way a seed, in order for it to create a plant, it needs to decompose. Destruction, Gav, we'll help you in a second, okay? We'll almost finish.
I'm choking in here.
When the destructive power is what's the building blocks of the new building. Okay? So, but Shema Yisrael, I think what Hashem is saying is, Moshe Rabbeinu was saying, listen, Jewish people, listen to the message that was on Har Sinai. That he revealed himself, what he showed you was there, is don't get confused. What he showed you was Hashem Echad. He showed you that everything in the world is completely controlled by him. Now this is a very, very powerful message, because this means that, let's say for example, you're worried now that Iran, nuclear war, South Korea, they're going to blow up the world, all the bad people, Corona, everything you can think of that will make AI to destroy the world, right? Okay. Now he has a plan. He has a plan that he wants to give us ultimate good, right? And he also lets people have free choice. And so we're like, wait, if you have free choice, the whole world's going to get blown up. No. He works within our free choice, and we are 100% going to come out what he wants. So therefore, there's no fear. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Right, so that's why he wants us to put tefillin on every day, to remind us of this way of being, that He is always in control, so you can feel a tremendous plan of safety.
But when people put that tefillin on, they don't sleep. Because I don't sleep a lot.
You're supposed to.
So that's what we're learning this for.